Hi, Phanessa here. In today's video, we are making the Aurora Shrug. Let's talk about the materials that you'll need. So you would need Lion Brand's ZZ Twist. This is medium 4 weight yarn. I love working with this yarn because it's super soft for acrylic, and it gave the shrug a really nice drape. I'm using a size J 6.0 crochet hook. You'll need a tape measure, and you'll need a couple of stitch markers and a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle. Okay, so I am making a little sample. Okay, so you want to chain in multiples of 6 plus 4. So I'm going to chain 24 plus 4 is 28. Okay, so now for the first row, you want to work into the 4th chain from the hook. So there's your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then your 4th. Okay, so yarn over into the 4th chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So we're working double crochet stitches all the way across. Okay, so if you did this correctly, you should have a multiple of 6 double crochet stitches plus 1 extra. So I have 25 double crochet stitches, and I just completed my last double crochet stitch right there. So now chain 2 and turn your work. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so our first double crochet stitch is worked right there where the chain 2 is. Okay, so 1 double crochet stitch in every stitch across. So now you want to work 1 more double crochet row, so chain 2 and turn. Again, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so you'll work your first stitch right there. And you want to just work 1 double crochet into every stitch across, just like you did on the last row. Okay, so I'm at the end right here, and I have 1 more stitch. And if you're a beginner and you're not sure, I recommend that you count your stitches to make sure that you still have the same number of stitches that you need. Otherwise, your work will start to either flare out or go in because you'll have too many or not enough stitches. Okay, so now we're ready to work the treble crochet clusters. So to start that, you want to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn your work, and this chain 4 actually counts as your first treble crochet. So that means we're going to skip 2. So this is your first stitch for the treble. So we're going to skip these 2 and work into the 3rd stitch. Okay, the 3rd stitch. So yarn over twice, and we're working our first cluster of 3 treble crochets right here. So it's treble 3 together. Okay, so again, wrap your yarn twice, insert into that 3rd stitch, pull up a loop. Okay, you should have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you want to stop here and work 2 more trebles in here, leaving the last loop. So yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now you have 2. You want to work that 1 more time, yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, now you have 4 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over and pull through all 4. Okay, so there's your first cluster. Now you want to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're going to work two clusters that sort of looks like a tent right here, like that. Okay, so your first cluster is going to go into the same stitch as your last cluster. So yarn over twice, into the same stitch where your last cluster was, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, so leave the last loop on your hook, work that 2 more times, yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, so we're sort of collecting treble crochet stitches on the loop plus the one we had over here. So one more time, yarn over twice, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, now you don't want to complete this like you did with the first one. You want to then skip 5 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the 6th stitch right there. You want to work another cluster, so yarn over twice, into that 6th stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, so you want to do that 2 more times. Yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, so now you have 2. You want to work 1 more treble, yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, so now you should have 7 loops. There's 4 from this cluster and 3 from this cluster. Okay, so now you want to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops. Okay, so now you're going to repeat the chain 5 and then the 2 clusters until you have 3 stitches left. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like this one, we're going into the same stitch as the last cluster. Yarn over twice, into the same stitch as your last cluster, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. 2 more times, yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, and pull through two. 1 more time, yarn over twice, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, so now we have 3 treble clusters into this stitch. Now you want to skip 5 like you did right here, skipping 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 6th stitch. You want to yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over twice into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. 1 more time, yarn over twice, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over and pull through two. Okay, now you have 7 loops on your hook and 3 trebles here and here. You want to yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. Okay, there's your second set. Okay, let's try that again. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, into the same stitch as the last cluster, work your 3 treble crochet stitches. Okay, do not complete this cluster. You want to skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the 6th stitch, you want to work another 3 clusters. Okay, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops on your hook. Okay, so I'm at my last 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to want to chain 5, work 1 cluster here, and then work 1 last treble in the last stitch, and then complete the cluster and the 1 single treble here. Complete all of that together. Okay, so chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Work a cluster here, do not complete it, and then you want to work 1 treble at the last stitch. So yarn over twice into the same stitch as your last cluster, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over twice into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over twice into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now I want to work the last treble in here. Don't complete this one. Yarn over twice into the last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we have 5 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 5. Okay, so that's supposed to match your beginning, which has 1 treble here, which was our chain 4, and then a cluster. Okay, so you want it the same on this side. Oops, which is your 1 cluster and your 1 treble. So let's work the double crochet rows now. Chain 2 and turn. Chain 2 for double crochet rows do not count as a stitch. So work 1 double crochet into this cluster right here, yarn over, into the top of the cluster, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. There's your first. Now into the chain 5 space you want to work 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so in each chain 5 space you work 5 double crochets. On the top of the clusters you work 1 double crochet. The chain 5 space, 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so top of the cluster, 1 double crochet. In the chain 5 space, 5 double crochets. In the cluster, 1 double crochet. In the chain 5 space, 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then into the last cluster, 1 double crochet, chain 2 and turn. Okay, so now you want to work 1 double crochet stitch in every stitch across. And again, if you're new, I recommend counting your stitches to make sure that you have the correct amount of stitches. Chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, into the same stitch, work your first double crochet, and then work 1 double crochet in every stitch across. Okay, so now you just repeat the treble clusters and the 3 double crochet rows. Okay, so from here to here, that's your repeat, and the pattern tells you how many rows for each size. And of course, if you're adjusting, just make sure that you're working these sets until you get the height that you want. Okay, I'm not going to go any further because I'm going to show you now how to sew the sides together. Again, we're making a tiny little sample. What you want to do is fold lengthwise down, okay, and you're going to mark 6.5 inches from the edge here for your armholes, and you can adjust the size of your armholes. Your armholes would be right there, and because it's more of a for your wrist and your forearm, you don't need it quite that big. So 6.5 inches is what I was comfortable with. Now what I did is I did not cut this. I left this and I just placed a stitch marker here so that it doesn't unravel. So I placed a stitch marker on my loop because I use the working yarn to work single crochets around the armhole once I'm ready. You don't have to do that. You can fasten off and then fasten on when you're ready to work on the armhole. If you have to attach new yarn, that's fine, just fasten on in the corner. Okay, so for every double crochet row, you should work about 2 slip stitches. If you're working on the cluster rows, you should get about 3 to 4. Use your best judgment. I worked about 3 for the cluster stitches and 2 for each of the double crochet rows. Okay, so you want to just insert through the front side and then through the back side and work a slip stitch. Okay, I like to go in between the stitch itself and not into the hole, the space. Okay, so there's 1, and I'm going to work in between the stitches there and in between the stitches back here. Okay, yarn over, pull through and through. Okay, just make sure that when you're marking your armholes that it's the same for both sides so that they match. Okay, so last slip stitch. Okay, so make sure you slip stitch the other side. Okay, I just worked a slip knot and attached it to my hook. Insert through the corner of the other side, yarn over, pull through and through the loop. Okay, so just like the other side, you want to work approximately 2 slip stitches for each double crochet row, and you want to work about 3 to 4 slip stitches. Let me remove this for the cluster rows. Okay, so I'm going to cut. I'm leaving a long tail so that I can, because it's so small, this is just a sample, yarn over, pull all the way through. So this is just a sample, and I know that I don't need much to work my single crochets around the armhole. Okay, so I removed my stitch markers, and I'm going to turn this so that the seam is on the inside. Okay, and then it should look in a bigger scale, something like this. Okay, so now you can work single crochets in the armhole. I left a long tail so that I can work my single crochets. So if you didn't leave yarn to work the single crochet, go ahead and fasten on, and then you want to chain one. So you can fasten on anywhere. I'd like to start right at the bottom near the seam so it's not as visible. So now you want to work single crochets all the way around. Again, I like to work 2 per row. Just make sure you keep count of your single crochet stitches so that you can have the same amount of single crochets on the other side. Again, I like to go in between the stitches instead of through the big holes. There's no right or wrong way, it's all personal preference. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning. Use a stitch marker if you need. This is my first stitch right there. I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. Yarn over and pull through. Okay, so I've completed my sleeve. You can definitely make a longer sleeve if you like. I like it just this way. And you want to do the same for this side. So let's work on the band, the collar band that goes around. For me personally, I like to start at the bottom or top because I feel like that's going to be the least visible when you're wearing it. So this is right side out still. I'm just going to insert my hook, and I forgot to make my slip knot here. Okay, so I'm going to fasten on, and you want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now for the band portion, the chain 3 counts as your first double crochet stitch. So you want to yarn over into the next stitch, work your double crochet, and then into every stitch you want to work 1 double crochet all the way around. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning of the round, and I'm going to slip stitch to the 3rd chain. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to slip stitch to join into the 3rd chain from that beginning chain 3. So now you want to chain 3 again and repeat the last round, working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around, and then you're going to slip stitch to the 3rd chain from your beginning chain 3, and then you want to repeat for a total of 5 rounds. Okay, so I'm ready to slip stitch to join to the 3rd chain. 1, 2, 3. Okay, into the 3rd chain. Oops. And then I'm going to cut my yarn over and pull through, and then you want to grab your tapestry needle and just weave in your ends. You can just weave it in however you like. Okay, so I did go back and work my single crochet on the other armhole. I only worked 2 rounds of the double crochet because this is a really small sample, so 5 would not look right on this little tiny sample. Okay, so this is your finished shrug. This is what it should look like. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for future videos.